Low-paying jobs are quickly being replaced by robots, computer software, and kiosks. Some jobs don't really have a purpose because there is a technology that can replace it. While many will agree that this will increase productivity in the short term, this will result in more unemployment if it happens too rapidly for the general public to adjust. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. I have two topics to cover today. Let's begin with this. Wendy's to install ordering kiosks in 1,000 stores this year. We are witnessing this occurring not just in the US, not just in Canada, but basically everywhere. We are seeing these kiosks appear in fast food restaurants, in coffee shops, and in your local supermarkets, where you would be able to replace much of the low-paying jobs, whether it's cashiers or whether it is, in these fast food places where you would have a person who basically types into a machine, takes your money in a form of cash or credit card, and they input that in there, they give you your product, and you're on your way. Well, why not just have this computer that has a simple interface where people can type it in themselves, put their payment in there themselves, and you get your food from another individual, and they would be able to manage it that way. You would have maybe one person to manage all of the cashiers instead of just having, let's say, 5 or 10 cashiers. This is the way it's working. You're seeing the self-checkouts appearing in the supermarkets. You are seeing this happening with Wendy's, and McDonald's is doing a similar thing where you just order at the screens. They have done this before. It's going on now. It's not something from the future. It is happening. This, unfortunately, is a very big issue. I'll cover more in a moment here. Fast food CEO says it just makes sense to consider replacing cashiers with machines as minimum wages rise. This is from Jack in the Box. So this is another fast food restaurant which is saying, look, we have corporate profits to worry about, and as a result, we will do whatever it takes to make sure those stay and remain high. This is what's happening here. This is 2018 information. They're all going ahead with this. If they can figure out a way to do it and the people feel comfortable enough, they will do that. They're going to start slowly, but ultimately this is the direction they're going. A lot of people suggest that this is fine because if a cashier can't find a job as a cashier, then they're going to work in something else and they'll have to get retrained. That's fine. I get that. Now, when you look at, for example, moving from the cart and buggy, you have your horses and you have your trains and then you have your cars, and there's a transition in between those hard times where people are, trying to get things together and they're trying to figure out their way and things. That took a long time to happen. It didn't happen over the span of 5 or 10 years. This took a very long time, okay? So people were able to prepare for that. They were able to get new training. A lot of people weren't going to be unemployed for long periods of time as a result. The technology is expanding so fast, people can't keep up. People don't even know what's available today. That's how fast it's moving. So that's the situation I see here. It's not that we have new technology. I'm all in favor of the new technology if it makes life easier. Look, nobody wants to necessarily be washing their dishes. They have a dishwasher. Nobody wants to wash their clothes. They have a washing machine. I get it. I understand. It's a good thing. But not when it happens too rapidly and people lose their jobs. That's the way I see it. So what do? They say, oh, a lot of people are losing their jobs. Let's implement the universal basic income. Who pays for that? Well, everybody does because that's their taxes. Oh, well, the middle class is going to be heavily burdened by that. Oh, well, that's just too bad. Okay, that's the way it works. Switching gears here. Hong Kong stock index heads for the best winning streak this century. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index is in line for the 11th straight win, which would be its best run since 1999 as it climbs toward a record high. We are seeing stocks rising in China. We are seeing them rise in Hong Kong. We are witnessing them doing the same thing in the US. All central banks are engaging in the same policies. They're printing money through their subsidiaries, or they are simply doing it directly in certain cases, and they're pushing the market higher. We are witnessing the lending practices in China being relaxed. We are seeing how there is countless, I've shown you it here on this channel before if you don't believe me, countless attempts at fraud. They've been minuscule amounts there's been those audits that found out what they're doing, but they are in excessive amounts of debt at this time. I've shown you the statistics here. We're talking about in the trillions, but it's okay because the market continues to go higher. Ignorance is bliss. Winning streak. Hong Kong benchmark heads for the longest rally since 1999. You can see that since the financial crisis, there have been some ups and downs, surely. But since essentially the beginning of 2016, the market has just gone crazy. It has gone upward. And you witness that at a time when there's a lot of tension, a lot of turmoil, but it doesn't matter. Because as long as central banks will be there to print, everyone feels that it's okay. The VIX index is at the lowest level it's ever been. The stocks are at the highest level they've ever been. And all the while we have many concerns, but it doesn't matter because let's pop the champagne, let's celebrate because everything is awesome. Let me repeat myself. Let's pop the champagne and celebrate because everything is awesome. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Remember that I'm trying to bring you the reality of the situation. I've told you before, stocks are just going to continue higher. There's always this very, very strange thing that appears in the comment section. I know what's happening. I've been following the markets for a very long time. I have watched the stocks continue to rise. And I've never once said short the market. Never once. Because I know that central banks are simply going to buy everything up. But at some point, they're going to purposely dry up the liquidity. Well, why would they want to do that? Well, why do you think they did it in 2008? Why do you think they did it before? Many, 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 many times before that. They could have just printed more money. They could have printed a quadrillion. They could have printed 100 quadrillion. They could have printed quadrillions of quadrillions and given it to each and every citizen, but they didn't do that. They want to create crashes on purpose. They want to suck as much wealth into the equities, into the bonds, into every single asset class, and then crash them all down. They consolidate power because in those crises, you see one company snatches another company, and rules are being broken during these periods of time because they say, look, we have a very serious crisis, we need to handle it, and this is what we're going to do. It's all fine and dandy, but unfortunately, things do happen. Wealth is consolidated as well, and nobody recognizes that because they think that they see a crash and they think that's a natural entity that's just happening. Oh, it's because of that reason or this reason. No, it's central banks. If you found the video informative, I know you will find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can actually flip through these books. If you go over to Amazon, there's links in the description below to check that out. Take care.